In my time on YouTube, I've done deep dives into the inconsistent lore of LEGO Batman. I've taken a look at the history of its wild speedrun, and even began a hunt for its still-lost prototype. But everything is focused on the past. Rarely have we turned towards the future, what lies beyond the game. I'm not talking about the game's 2.5 sequels, or even what LEGO has planned next. I'm referring to something that was supposed to follow the game shortly after its release in 2008, but never did. A long-forgotten patch to LEGO Batman that was only very recently discovered online. Let's take a minute to set the stage. If you're new here, you might not be aware of the convoluted history of LEGO Batman and how much it changed throughout development. I do have a whole video on that topic, but for the sake of efficiency, we'll go over everything here and I'll give you all the quick rundown. If you watch any of the teasers and trailers leading up to the game's release, you'll notice a ton of discrepancies. Character appearances being mismatched, levels taking on entirely different aesthetics, and even full rooms being cut. Now, while it's extremely normal for games to change during development, even this much, it's a little abnormal that the promotional material that followed was also incorrect. I own a guidebook for the Wii version of the game, and it straight up just has wrong information in here that was based on that prototype. While our hunt in that video led us nowhere, in the time since I've gotten tons of emails and messages that help us narrow down our search and give us more insight into these primal builds. So before jumping into this brand new mysterious patch, I want to go over a few of these finds as it all kind of pertains to the same subject. One of the earliest and biggest finds was from Barnaby on Discord, who found evidence of a hero counterpart to the level in enterprising theft. Episode 4 always felt sort of disconnected. There was no vehicle level, and because of that, the story desyncs from the hero side of the game. So there being a scrapped level makes a lot of sense. There isn't much we can glean from this quick few second glance, but the level looks so far along in development, I wonder why they scrapped it. I mean, you have a bunch of custom textures, computer monitors that I don't think appear anywhere else in the game, and is this a robot? A Lexbot? Martian Manhunter? In a different video, we see Two-Face running down a hallway that doesn't resemble anywhere else in the game, so we can assume it's from this same scrapped level. There's a magnet suit swapper in the background, and even one of the electrical boxes that you shoot in an enterprising theft. That being the biggest piece of evidence to this level being that level's unborn twin. There's even an outside view of the Wayne Tech facility, but we don't see anything more. Now, I'm sure some of you aren't fully convinced that we can confidently nail down what this level was supposed to be, but outside of the electrical box, we do have a couple of other clues to slot this missing piece into place. For one, the presence of a suit swapper means this has to be a hero level. They aren't there in any of the villain areas. To the left of Two-Face, we can see a blue electrical pylon that looks awfully similar to the ones that we see at the end of an enterprising theft. Also, come on, it's Two-Face. They're making it pretty obvious. Shifting over to the other levels, we see a more blue version of 1-1 with some slightly different texturing. And 1-2 has a much creepier and grotesque version of the snowman entrance, but that's about it. There's more beta gizmos like the old Joker electrical boxes that we didn't have a clear view of earlier, and thanks to a viewer named Jack, tons of more high-resolution images of older character designs and trailers were rediscovered. The only thing that truly differs from the video made a few months ago is that there was a green version of Man-Bat in the game at some point, which, I don't know, I kind of love this look. I wish the green would have stayed. There was even a super old teaser trailer from March of 2006 that showcases this, well, not great CGI animation of a goon stealing money from a safe. But the crazy thing here is that there's voice acting.
Oh my gosh! Who are you? I'm Batman.
This is technically the first real voice acting in a TT Games project, years and years before LEGO Batman 2. Unless you count that weird John Burton video, whatever, we're not going to talk about that one.
You said people gonna die?
Outside of those trailers, a very old promotional website was also rediscovered on the Internet Archive that might be my favorite piece of lost LEGO Batman media, as it gives us the deepest dive into the characters that we've ever seen. I don't know, it's also a cool time capsule of what video game marketing was like in the early 2000s. You can scroll through the Gotham rooftops and collect little Lego bricks that interact with each other with a cheap physics engine. While a lot of the web sections don't work anymore, I would like to find a way to repair the widget section. I just really want to know what these things were meant to do. But for now, let's focus on the characters. There's a section relating to all the game's main players with tiny informational blurbs beneath them. At a first glance, you'll notice the infamous beta design used for Harley Quinn, making it safe to say that this website was programmed way before the game's release. In one of the blurbs, it also says how Bruce Wayne would be playable in the Wayne Manor bonus level, which places this site's release date way before even the first prototype that we found, as Batman is the playable character we see in the guidebook. There's smaller supporting details to this as well, like how Joker was originally supposed to be able to deploy laughing gas, Scarecrow had fear gas, Two-Face had security bypass abilities, and there were planned to be super strength walls in the game, which ended up being a mainstay LEGO feature way later down the road. But I'll let you take a look yourself if you're curious. There's a ton of stuff to cover. This site also backs up our theories about the LEGO DC universe for all of you lore nuts out there, like how it confirms the existence of Jason Todd's Robin by calling Tim Drake the third Robin in his description. As a side tangent before we move on, the site also might canonize that Killer Moth is the strongest LEGO Batman villain, as he is now the only bad guy to have ever officially kidnapped Bruce Wayne/Batman, as seen in Batgirl or Barbara Gordon's description. I think the only other time we've seen LEGO Batman get captured or kidnapped or outsmarted was the Justice Syndicate, by himself. And that pretty much wraps up any major discoveries from the last time we visited the weird world of LEGO Batman. There are some more minor discrepancies, like the police precinct being playable in Hero, which would explain the mini-kit issues we covered a few months ago, but besides that, some other earlier builds of levels, and that kind of just remains about it. I'll try to include all of these videos and discoveries in some capacity down below, and I do recommend you watch them for yourself since they're kind of a neat time capsule to look at. But thanks again for everyone who sent in new stuff to look at, and I will continue to give you updates onto this prototype build when they pop up. But finally, we can cover the main topic of today's video, the unreleased LEGO Batman patch. What makes this so interesting? Well, in 2008, patching a video game after release was not a very easy thing to do. For PC games, sure, whatever, just update the game, but consoles just began having internet access for the first time, and it would take another generational leap for patches to become frequent. Usually a company, including TT Games, would just reissue or recall a product and re-release it with a fixed version afterwards, or just let players deal with the game-breaking bugs. But this is where LEGO games differ just a little bit. LEGO games are multi-platform, and released onto every major home console at the time. Xbox, PlayStation, Wii, and PC all got what was more or less the same version of the game. Were some things different? Sure, both Indiana Jones games were huge offenders of that. In the first, the Wii version is missing terrain in some areas, and in the second, the PC port didn't have character voice sound effects. The complete saga also had console-exclusive glitches, like how on the Wii, if you enable extras on a completed save file of the game, when you loaded a new one, they'd be active there without you needing to unlock them. In a larger sense though, and from a casual perspective, these were identical releases. It's because of this that even if a patch for the PC game was pushed out, it would then make one version of the game the ideal version, and could potentially hurt sales for the console counterparts. Having two distinct builds of the game just floating around would be really confusing, and unfair to some consumers who didn't have access to a home computer. So how was this hidden patch found? And more importantly, what does it do? Like most things in life, it was found by a friend of Linturny Gamer, just sitting on the Internet Archive. That's right. It's been there for years, waiting for someone to find it. Oh, and it's also only in Russian for some reason, with an English translation available. I've given up on TT Games making any sense with this. What could possibly be on this PC-exclusive, Russian-only patch of LEGO Batman 1? What was so important that they had to issue a patch only a week after the game had released? A fix to a game-breaking bug? Perhaps some missing data entry? Or maybe some employee realized how awful Wayne Manor was and decided to make it good? Nope. It just fixes Man-Bat's death layers. That seems to be it. Like, are you for real? You know how many features of this game are broken and need to be fixed? Extra toggle doesn't even work, and the water refraction in Penguin's lair is your concern? Come on. Okay, well that's not really all that changes. This version of the game is, on the surface, the same exact thing you've played over and over and over on Steam or your console. But when you look a little deeper, you'll notice some pretty interesting stuff. For one, the game loads much faster. This might just be due to the files coming unpacked when you download it as opposed to having to do it manually, and it also isn't launching through Steam, but either way, it's an improvement. I also can't put my finger on what exactly looks better, but the game just does seem to look better. It's quite possible I'm placebo affecting myself, but I do genuinely feel like some of the models here look cleaner on higher resolutions. and this could also be a symptom of how the game is rendering certain effects. For example, when both game versions are opened in Brickbench, a level viewing program, the V30 version renders the water refractions on the ceiling, but the Steam version doesn't. In the game, they look near identical. I really can't notice a difference, but there definitely is something going on with one of the visual engines. I don't know, though. I'm kind of an idiot, so I don't really know how to explain this point better. The only question I'm left with after viewing this version of the game is the age-old question of why. The files here are dated only 1 week after the Steam release, and if this is the only thing they really bothered to change, who ordered it to be made? What was the point? And more importantly, how did this version leak online? It's evident that this might be a dev build of the game with like the V30 and the pause menu being there, but if that's the case, what was the purpose of preserving this build? I'm just like, I get left dumbfounded. Nothing about this really makes any sense, but are we surprised? The whole history of this game is so convoluted and senseless that it kind of just fits. And I love just learning new things about this version of the game because it's one of my favorite topics to talk about. I grew up playing it, and just finding all these neat little, like, tucked away aspects of it is just really interesting. And even furthermore, if this is like a dev version of the game, a dev had to leak it online, which gives us hope for the prototype, the holy grail version, to potentially be leaked at some point as well. But, you know, we can't force it to happen. All we can keep doing is waiting. I know this video is quite short and doesn't have a fulfilling resolution, but it's because the concept of there being a patch ended up being more interesting than the patch itself. Again, if we want to see more about this, all we can really do is wait. If you enjoyed the video, of course, liking and subscribing does help me out a great deal. I'm going to try to post a video once a week this summer. I can't, like, promise that, but that's my goal, and the support makes it seem, you know, all the more worth it. So if you feel like it, do all that stuff that helps me. There's so much out there, but I guess I'll see you guys next week for more LEGO Batman content, I'm sure. But thanks for watching, and goodbye. See ya.